Speaking section. The speaking section tests your ability to communicate in English in an academic setting. During the test, you will be presented with 4 speaking questions. The questions ask for a response to a single question, a talk, or a lecture. The prompts and questions are presented on time. You may take notes as you listen, but notes are not graded. You may use your notes to answer the questions. Some of the questions ask for a response to a reading passage and a talk or a lecture. The reading passages and the questions are written, but the directions will be spoken. Your speaking will be evaluated on both the fluency of the language and the accuracy of the content. You will have 15 to 20 seconds to prepare and 45 to 60 seconds to respond to each question. Typically, a good response will require all of the response time and the answer will be complete by the end of the response time. You have about 17 minutes to complete the speaking section. A clock on the screen will show you how much time you have to prepare each of your answers and how much time you have to record each response.
You will now be asked a question about a familiar topic. After you hear the question, you will have 15 seconds to plan your response and 45 seconds to speak.
Do you agree that traveling in a group led by a tour guide is the best way to travel?
You will now read a short passage and then listen to a conversation on the same topic. You will then be asked a question about the passages. After you hear the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. You have 45 seconds to read the passage below.
I heard about the new triage system at the health center. I think it's a great idea.
Really? I'm not so sure. I feel like it might make things more complicated.
But it's supposed to reduce wait times for minor ailments, like when we just need some cold medicine or something. That's definitely a plus.
I guess that's true, but I worry that it might lead to miscommunication or mix-ups if they're prioritizing some students over others.
I understand your concern, but I think the staff will be trained to handle this efficiently. Plus, it means that students with more serious issues can get the attention they need faster.
You're right. I hadn't thought about it that way. Maybe it will be beneficial after all.
The woman expresses her opinion about the proposal described in the letter. Briefly summarize the proposal. Then state her opinion about the proposal and explain the reasons she gives for holding that opinion.
You will now read a short passage and then listen to a lecture on the same topic. You will then be asked a question about the passage. After you hear the question, you have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. You have 45 seconds to read the passage below. You may begin reading now.
Now listen to part of a lecture in a psychology class. Today we're going to discuss the concept of free riding, which refers to individuals benefiting from the contributions of others without reciprocating in a group setting. Let me give you an example to illustrate this concept. Imagine a group project where each member is responsible for completing a specific task. Now, if one member decides to slack off and not fulfill their responsibilities, relying on the efforts of others to complete the project, that individual is engaging in free riding. This behavior can have negative consequences for the group, as it places an unfair burden on those who are actively contributing. It can lead to feelings of resentment, decreased motivation, and ultimately compromised outcomes for the entire group.
Explain how the example from the professor's lecture illustrates the concept of free riding.
You will now listen to part of a lecture. You will then be asked a question about it. After you hear the question, you will have 20 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak.
Listen to part of a lecture in a psychology class.
Today we will be discussing the topic of the sense of control and how it influences our behavior and well-being. I will provide you with 2 strategies that can help individuals enhance their sense of control in different ways. Firstly, one strategy is through goal setting. By setting specific and achievable goals, individuals can gain a sense of control over their actions and outcomes. For example, imagine a student who sets a goal to complete a certain number of study hours each day. By doing so, they feel a sense of control over their academic progress and are more likely to achieve their desired outcomes. Secondly, another strategy is through cognitive reappraisal. This involves reframing and reinterpreting challenging situations in a more positive and empowering light. For instance, consider a person facing a stressful work deadline. Instead of feeling overwhelmed and helpless, they can reframe the situation as an opportunity to showcase their skills and demonstrate their ability to handle pressure. By adopting this perspective, individuals regain a sense of control over the situation and can approach it with a more proactive mindset.
Using points and examples from the lecture, Explain 2 ways that individuals can enhance their sense of control.